and welcome back to Prep Talk Podcast Season number 2. It's all about ACT. I am your host Vartika Bhandari, and in today's episode we will discuss English section of ACT exam. To simplify the subject further, we have students' favorite Sudeshna Day, ACT English and reading expert at Tutela. Hi Sudeshna, how are you?
Hi Vartika, I'm good. How are you today?
I'm good too. So let's begin with the podcast.
Sure.
Okay. So, according to the ACT official website, the English section in this exam puts you in the position of a writer who makes decision to revise and edit a text. So, what is your take on this section and what are your insights being a faculty?
The English section of ACT is a section that strictly tests us in grammar rules and conventions. We as learners need to understand how to work through these strategies, and also the section tests us in our understanding of language, how ideas have to be in sync with each other. So whenever we read a text, each sentence has to be linked to the other sentence, and that is the other fact that is definitely tested. Structure and form of a text is tested, as well as diction and idioms. So overall, this section is somewhat like math, where it is, if you understand the technicalities of the English language and its rules, you will definitely be able to apply them.
Okay, talking about maths, so is it as tough as the math section or is it?
No, actually, you can't really say the math section is tough either, but this is a pretty interesting section because it'll help you to score well in the section if you have the grammar rules at your fingertips.
Right. So moving on to our next question, what is the structure of this section?
So this section has a total of 75 questions. You will get 45 minutes to work on those 75 questions. And to get deeper into the structure, it's divided into 5 passages. And you will get 15 questions approximately per passage. So that's the overall structure.
Okay, so what about the scoring?
The scoring is simple. There is a raw score out of 75. So you can, for example, score a 74 out of 75, which is later converted into a scale score, which is out of 36. So the scale score can be a 35 out of 36 if you're at a 74. That's, of course, just an example.
Okay. So our next question is, what is the time required for the preparation of the English section?
At an average, you may need about 1.5 months to 2 months to learn the content and then start taking sectional practice tests for the section.
Okay. So how many sectionals do you think is required for a student? Like doing for example, 10 sections would be good enough for a student to get into the rhythm of testing and attempting a test in a proper time, because we know that ACT is very strict with time and not as compared to SAT. So what do you suggest should be a good ideal number for a student?
Approximately 5 to 6 tests get them into the motion. They understand how to manage time within that period. Also, based on our online portal system, we get the students to practice there, which helps them in the process further, because the transition from paper to computer-based testing takes a while. So 5 tests at an average works.
So the next question for you is ACT English section easier or more complex than the SAT English section?
So the types of questions that come in both the sections are pretty similar. However, ACT is a more time-bound test.
Right.
We get to answer a lot more questions in a shorter amount of time. Whereas in SAT, there are 44 questions in 35 minutes. So obviously, we get a little bit more time in each question there. Based on difficulty level, SAT has a few sets of questions which ACT does not have. But nonetheless, it's all in the same at the end.
Okay. So coming on to our next question, how scoring according to you is ACT English section as compared to math, science and reading?
The ACT English section is pretty scoring. You can easily score a full 75 in the section. Of course, I mentioned this earlier, you need to be well versed with the grammar rules. You need to know the application. The best thing to do is practice as much as you can.
Right.
You definitely get better in every test.
Right. Practice is the key.
Yes.
So, what are some books that you recommend for students to get going with the ACT prep, English prep particularly?
Yes. So ACT English workbook that is there by Erica Melzer is pretty good. College Panda has a few definite worksheets that can help. And overall, again, the grammar rules are available everywhere. As long as the students know which rules and strategies to look for, they can understand and learn the rules there. For practice, of course, ACT papers are available online. They can look up there as well.
Right. So, what are your holy grail tips for students to prepare themselves better for this section?
Of course, practice makes one perfect.
Right.
So a lot of practice will definitely get them where they need to be. Disciplined study and constant revision is very important, because it is very easy to overlook a rule while working on the test. Unless the rules of grammar are there at your fingertips, it's just there in your head. You will not be able to answer all questions and go forward with the elimination process in these questions easily. So my suggestion is always to keep revising and practice as much as you can, take as many tests as you can. Yeah, that's it.
Great. So, moving to our next question, is there negative marking or penalty in guessing in this section?
No. There is no negative marking in this section. So, again, there is no penalty, obviously.
Right.
It is important to, of course, mark all the answers. If you're running out of time, you can select any one answer choice and just select the answer just to be sure. Because if you don't mark an option, you definitely lose a point.
Yeah. So, how many questions can a student miss to sustain a good score? And what would be a good score according to you?
In this section, a good score is anywhere from a 33 to a 36. 36 being the highest.
Okay.
And of course, that's the scaled version. Out of 75, one should definitely score something around a 69 to a 75.
Right.
Because it's very much scoring, right? One can definitely get that score. But missing, again, as I mentioned, it's mandatory to mark the answers.
Miss in the sense, how many questions can they get wrong in order to sustain
around 3 to 4.
Right. Okay. So this would be our last question to you. What are some critical concepts under ACT English?
Important concepts are definitely punctuations take the price, because a lot of questions are asked from this particular section. It's a very broad section, a lot of topics are there. Then comes transitions are tested in different ways and different types of questions are asked. Also, we have these certain sets of questions that we term as rhetorical questions. They're mostly questions that deal with the structure of the English language. So you did mention in the beginning that one has to play the role of an editor.
Right.
Here, these questions are just that. You need to kind of edit and look at the structure and fix it. And if I have to come down a little bit more into the grammatical aspect of the questions, then verbs definitely are important, because tenses and verbs, it's a broad topic. A lot of questions can be found from this section as well.
All right. So with this, we conclude our ACT English podcast. Thank you so much, Sudeshna, for being here.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I hope you're enjoying our episodes day by day, and we are going to upload more such episodes. So stay tuned and don't forget to follow our channel. Thank you. Bye-bye.